What's going on, guys? It is Lachlan from the Footballs channel, back with another Richmond recap video, and this one is going to be a frustrating one. As you can, as you know, me and Luke were at the game on Saturday, and that was frustrating to watch. It was very frustrating to watch. I mean, to be honest, it does feel like we got blown out by 50 points. It does feel like a 50-point loss, but it wasn't. It was a 5-point loss. Yeah, I'm just going to get into it. Look, the first quarter was very disappointing. It was just very poor football. We just never looked in it. I mean, and look, credit to the Dogs. Don't take anything away from them. They were good. They were good in that first quarter. Second quarter, all of a sudden, we come back to life. We're playing some good football. We kicked like 8 goals to 2 in the second quarter, and we were all over the Dogs. And I thought, oh, well, we're in good form. And then the rain came down. I thought, oh, it's going to be tough football from here. But the frustrating part was the chances we had. We had so many opportunities to put the Dogs away, and we just didn't. And when you don't put a team away, you know what happens. They'll come and get you. And then that's what happened in that fourth quarter, where the Dogs kicked 3. And look, I'm going to be honest though, those 2 free kicks the Dogs got were absolutely rubbish. The one when Norton got, clearly that was not a push at the back. I mean, because I'm just sick of players doing that these days. And even that last one, I think it was McComb and Vlosten, when Vlosten apparently caught McComb high, which definitely wasn't high. That was just a piss weak call. That was freaking piss weak. And we're trying not to swear much of this, but when I get angry, you know, you can swear a bit, but yeah, I'm gonna try not to. Those 2 calls really frustrated me the most, and just our entries inside 50 were just poor. That's all I can say, and that's been a real issue for us throughout the beginning of this season, just entries inside 50. I mean, you look at our 4 games this year, like the Carlton game, we walked away with a draw in the end, but that's all we walked away with. It could have been a loss, but it wasn't. And then round 2 against the Crows, we let the Crows come back in the third quarter, but we ended up winning that game. Last week against Collingwood, yeah, I mean, I think that was a fair enough excuse. We were never going to win that, but this one here is definitely no excuse. I mean, I understand that there were some poor decisions. Those 2 goals the Dogs kicked from free kick definitely shouldn't have been free kicks, but the decision making was just poor. It was very, very poor. And I mean, that seriously has been an issue for us. We need to stop. We just need to take our time. Like when you're going inside 50, just go back, take your time, and just have a look around. If you can't see a target, just bomb it long and see what happens. Even if it's punch through fresh mind, you know you're doing something right. Even when I play footy, I know that. If I don't see anyone handball, I'll just kick it long. Even though, unless it's, you know, it depends on the situation overall, but just bomb it. Doesn't matter where, just bomb the ball inside 50. It may result in a mark, you just never know. And I just think that we just did one too many handballs, and the Dogs just kept getting us on the turnovers over that. And they're not taking away from what they did. They were good. The Western Bulldogs played some great footy. I mean, the last 2 weeks they've been playing pretty good. They were good the week before against Brisbane, and then last week they were pretty good as well. But yeah. It was very frustrating. And what makes matters worse now is that yesterday we found out that Tom Lynch is going to have surgery on a broken foot. That just puts a bit of icing on the cake with that. That is just a massive loss for us, I mean, for the Tigers, because, you know, Lynch is their most important forward. I mean, and now looking at the forward line now, because Lynch has been there all the time, but does that sense the next man stand up? Like, you can't really rely most on Jack Rewell, because this will probably Jack Rewell's last year playing footy. He was managed for this game. I probably wouldn't have managed him for this one, because he's good in the wet weather, Jack Rewell. I mean, he's a very reliable forward. I know he's 34 years of age, but he's reliable. And I think now all the loads can be carried on him now. He's done it before, but at 34, I don't really know. And then Samson Ryan, he's had 1 good game. Yeah, it was against Adelaide, and then the last 2 games he's just been poor. He got subbed out of the Collingwood game but I reckon because it was wet, I was like, yeah, that's fair enough. It was a wet game, but yeah, he was I mean, he did kick 1 goal, but he just stumbled the ball too many times. And I mean, I understand that he's young, he's still learning the the style of senior football. But I tell you what, if Lynch didn't have a broken foot, it probably wouldn't be facing suspension. And look, to be honest, I could see this being a 3-week suspension because, I mean, I understand what they're trying to do now. They don't like when players come in and collect people. I think they're taking this a little bit over the top a little bit. I mean, from the beginning of the season when I said about the suspension-wise, like, because they have Pickett, suspension, Buddy suspension. I mean, yeah, they were there. They were probably fair enough. And then the Nathan Broad one, which was fair enough too, because he tackled a guy, cussed someone. That's probably a fair call for me. I mean, to be honest, even if Lynch does get suspended, it's not going to matter. He's going to be out for 2 months. He's going to be out with a broken foot. Yeah, it's going to be... Don't know what's going to be for the forward line now because Jack Reel's going to have to carry the lot. Samson Ryan will burst. Well, now I don't think he will get dropped because now that he is going to be playing probably the key forward role. I mean, look, I don't see him being forward. Even I rang SCN last night saying that, you know, I don't know where this forward line's going to be because I think Jack Rewell, is old now and he's not going to be that main forward role. And then Samson Ryan, look, he's going to be a good forward in the future, but just as of now, he's still young, he's still learning. So, I don't really know where that takes us now. Also, I think, looking back at it, I understand why they dropped Maurice Religion, but I reckon he would have been probably big in this game because he's small, and when it's wet weather footy, that's when the smalls come to play around, because when you're tall, it's obviously not fun because, you know, your main strength's overhead when you're marking, except going on the ground. I reckon that was a mistake there. I reckon they probably should have looked at the weather a bit better to know it was going to rain, and I think that's when you bring someone in like very small and quick that can play that. So I reckon that was probably a mistake on Dimmer's part, but I understand why he did it, why he managed Rewell and Cobra. Obviously, Cotchin was the sub in this game, and he came on for Jack Graham. He's got a hamstring, so that's another injury to our list. But yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens now. I mean, yeah, it is early days. We're only 4 games into the season. Don't think that it's time to ring the panic bells just yet. But if this is like this, if we're playing poor football heading into the bye rounds, then I'd probably start worrying. But as of now, probably not. Obviously, I come up with positives and negatives too. I mean, the players are going to hold their head up high. Where Liam Baker, who, yeah, he turned the ball over a bit, but I thought he was okay. I thought Taranto was, obviously, he averaged the most disposals a game. Daniel Rioli played another good game. I really love Daniel Rioli. He's playing well off half-back, and that's probably a very good role for us. I thought Dusty, he played a good game. Cumberland, look, I like him. He's a good young player. He made a couple of mistakes, but that's what a young player does. Young players are going to make mistakes. But yeah, look, I think he's going to be very good for us in the future. But I think the letdown for us was probably the older guys. Like a couple of decision making. Look, I don't think it was everyone. I thought the backline tried to hold up well, but a lot of the decision making by nearly almost every player on the field was just awful. And we just need to tidy that up. And if we can tidy that up, we won't be having any issues. But I think the negative for me will probably just, I'm not going to name all the players, but just a couple, because that's what was the frustrating part about it. But anyways, you know, like I said, it is only 4 games into the season where we've had 1 win, a draw, and 2 losses. And the next couple of weeks aren't going to be easy because next week is Gather Round. We take on the Sydney Swans next week. Next Friday, Adelaide Oval. Now the Swans aren't going to have coming off 2 losses themselves. They obviously had a heartbreaker on the weekend against Port. So that classifies an interesting game. And both the McCartan brothers are going to be out for this game. They both got concussed on the weekend. Obviously, when you get concussion, that's obviously a week off. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens from here, especially no Tom Lynch. So it's going to be interesting to see. But if we can beat Sydney, or if we do beat Sydney in this game, then, man, that'd be big. But to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if they win this, because I've seen it happen to a lot of teams this year. They come off a bad loss and they come up and win the next game that they're not expected to win. So I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. But anyways, you just never know. That's another recap video done for you guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and we'll catch you in the next one.